I am Dr. Camille Dawson, 33 years old, a single mother, and the founder of a therapy center for children with disabilities. But before any of those titles, I am Elijah's mom, a 7-year-old boy with eyes the color of summer skies and a will forged in steel, trapped in a body shaped by cerebral palsy. For 7 years, I lived quietly. No need for love, no need for apologies, no need for the man who vanished the moment I told him I was pregnant. Until the day I received a wedding invitation from Chase Rutherford, the man who erased me as if I had never existed. And Elijah, the boy who had never once been called son by his father, asked me one simple question. "Mom, can I meet him?" That's when I knew. Our story had never really ended, and everything began again. At his wedding. The thick cream envelope sat on my kitchen counter for 3 days before I could bring myself to open it. I knew what it was. The return address screamed Rutherford in gold embossing, the kind of pretentious detail Chase would choose now that he'd become Silicon Valley royalty. My hands trembled as I sliced through the paper. "Mr. Chase Rutherford and Ms. Victoria Chen request the honor of your presence." 7 years. 7 years since he'd looked at my pregnancy test like I'd shown him a death sentence. 7 years since his assistant Lydia had blocked my number, returned my letters unopened, erased me from his life as efficiently as deleting a file. I sank onto the kitchen stool, my fingers tracing the elegant calligraphy. Dr. Camille Dawson. He knew where to find me. He'd always known. "Mama!" Elijah's voice pulled me back. My son stood in the doorway, his communication device clutched in one hand, his other gripping the walker that helped him navigate our world. The cerebral palsy had been diagnosed at 18 months. Another message Chase never received, according to his lawyers. "I'm okay, baby." I forced a smile, tucking the invitation under a stack of mail. But Elijah had inherited more than his father's sharp green eyes. He'd gotten his curiosity, too. That evening, while I was reviewing patient files, I heard the synthetic voice from his device. "Wedding, Chase Rutherford." My coffee mug slipped, brown liquid spreading across my desk. Elijah stood there, holding the invitation, his face bright with discovery. "Is this my father?" We'd never lied to each other. I'd told him age-appropriate truths. His father lived far away, had important work, didn't know how to be part of our family. But I'd never shown him pictures, never spoken the name that now stared up at us in golden script. "Yes," I whispered. His fingers flew across his device. "Can I meet him?" The question I'd dreaded for 7 years hung between us. My brilliant, brave boy who fought for every word, every step, every small independence. How could I deny him this? How could I grant it? "It's his wedding, Eli. He's marrying someone else." I know what wedding means. His eyes, so like Chase's, held mine steady. "Can I meet him?" That night, I watched Elijah sleep, his face peaceful despite the muscle relaxants that helped his body rest. Tomorrow, he'd wake up hurting, like every morning. He'd push through therapy, struggle with tasks other 7-year-olds took for granted, and he'd do it all with a determination that humbled me daily. Maybe it was time to stop protecting him from disappointment. Maybe it was time to stop protecting myself. The next morning, Elijah was waiting at the breakfast table with his device fully charged. He'd typed out a message. "I want to tell him I'm okay." I set down his medication and smoothie, buying time. "What do you mean, baby?" His fingers moved carefully. "Maybe he's sad. Maybe he thinks he has broken sun." The words knocked the breath from my lungs. "Elijah, you are not broken. You're perfect exactly as you are." "I know." He gave me that crooked smile that melted my heart. But does he? This child, this magnificent child, who spent 2 hours in physical therapy just to walk to the mailbox, who programmed jokes into his device to make other kids laugh, who never let me feel sorry for us even when the world felt impossibly hard. "The wedding is in California," I said finally. "That's far away. Airplane?" His eyes lit up. We'd never flown anywhere. Too expensive, too complicated with his equipment. I thought about our savings account, earmarked for the new communication device Elijah needed. Thought about the therapy center I'd built from nothing, the families depending on me. Thought about showing up at Chase Rutherford's society wedding with his secret disabled son. I'll think about it. But Elijah knew me too well. That afternoon, Ms. Martinez from his special education class called. Elijah asked me to help him research his father. I wanted to check if that was okay. My son, the strategist. That evening, I found him on my laptop, Chase's company website filling the screen. The About Us page featured a photo of Chase in a titanium gray suit standing before a wall of awards. Bringing voice to the voiceless, Rutherford Tech's revolutionary neural interface. He makes talking computers, Elijah typed, wonder in his expression. Like mine, but in brains. The irony wasn't lost on me. Chase, building technology for people who couldn't speak, while his own son struggled to communicate every day. His company's devices cost more than I made in 5 years. Are you angry? Elijah asked suddenly. Sometimes, I admitted. Are you? He considered this, his face scrunched in concentration. Finally, no, just curious. That night, he showed me something he'd been working on. A video message. His speech was labored but clear, each word a small victory. Hi, I'm Elijah. I'm 7. I like dinosaurs and coding. I use a walker and a talking device. I'm not sad about it. Are you? You want to show this to him? He nodded, then typed. If he's scared, maybe this helps. I pulled my son close, breathing in his shampoo and little boy scent. Here was this child who faced bigger challenges before breakfast than most people did all year, wanting to comfort the man who'd abandoned us. Okay, I whispered. We'll go. The dress hung in my closet like armor. Navy blue, professional, forgettable. Everything I needed to be at Chase's wedding. Elijah had insisted on a bow tie that clipped to his polo shirt. Fancy, he'd typed, grinning. I'd RSVP'd the day before the deadline, my handwriting shakier than my son's. 2 guests. The response came within hours, a terse email from Lydia Wellington, still Chase's guardian at the gates. Mr. Rutherford was surprised to hear from you. He assumes this is regarding the trust fund matter. A private meeting can be arranged. Trust fund. As if money could repair 7 years of absence. No, thank you, I'd replied. We'll see him at the wedding. The 3-hour flight to California tested every ounce of my planning. Elijah's walker had to be gate-checked. His communication device needed special screening. Other passengers stared as I helped him to the bathroom, his legs spasming despite the medication. Sorry, an older woman muttered, squeezing past us in the aisle. Don't be sorry, Elijah said aloud, each word careful and proud. Just be patient. The woman flushed and hurried away. I kissed the top of his head, this boy who refused to shrink from the world's discomfort. At the hotel, I laid out our clothes and watched Elijah practice his video message one more time. He'd added to it, I'm good at math and swimming. Mom says I get that from you. Do you like swimming? You don't have to do this, I told him. We can go home right now. No. He was firm. I need to see. See what? He thought carefully, then typed. If the sad is worse than the wondering. That night, neither of us slept well. Elijah's muscle spasms were worse. Travel always triggered them. I held him through the pain, whispering stories about brave knights with mobility aids who saved kingdoms through cleverness instead of swords. Mom? His voice was small in the darkness. What if he doesn't want to see me? I'd prepared for every scenario except my son's heartbreaking. Then we'll go home. We'll eat ice cream for dinner and watch dinosaur documentaries until we forget why we came. Chocolate? With sprinkles. He relaxed against me. Okay, worth the risk. Morning came too soon. I French braided Elijah's hair to keep it neat, helped him into his outfit, adjusted his walker grips. My hands shook as I applied mascara, my only concession to vanity. You look pretty, Mom. Elijah's compliment came through his device. Don't be scared. I'm not scared. The lie came automatically. It's okay to be scared. He patted my hand with his smaller one. I'm scared too, but we're brave, right? The bravest, I agreed, though my courage felt tissue thin. The GPS showed the wedding venue 40 minutes away. 40 minutes until I walked back into Chase Rutherford's life with living proof of everything he'd thrown away. The Napa Valley estate sprawled like a movie set, all manicured lawns and fairy lights. Valets in crisp uniforms scrambled when they saw Elijah's walker, unsure of protocol. I lifted him out myself while they stood watching. Big house, Elijah observed, eyes wide. The ceremony was starting. We could hear music floating from the garden, a string quartet playing something classical and expensive. Other late guests hurried past us in designer heels and summer suits. Nobody looked twice at the woman helping a child with a walker navigate the gravel path. Dr. Dawson? A young woman with an iPad appeared. I'm Ashley, the wedding coordinator. You're not on the seating chart? We'll stand in the back. She frowned, but gestured toward the garden. The ceremony's already begun. Perfect. I'd planned this entrance for maximum visibility, minimum disruption. We'd slip in, Chase would see us, and then I hadn't planned past that moment. The garden took my breath away. 200 guests sat in perfect rows, facing an altar draped in white orchids. And there was Chase, looking exactly as he did in my dreams. Older, sharper, wearing wealth like a second skin. The bride stood beside him in a dress that probably cost more than my car. Victoria Chen, according to Google. A venture capitalist with her own fortune, her own connections, the perfect power couple. Dearly beloved, the officiant began. I helped Elijah navigate to a spot near the back, but the walker clicked against the stone path. One head turned, then another. A ripple of awareness spread through the crowd. Chase hadn't noticed yet. He was focused on Victoria, on the life he'd chosen, on promises he was about to make. If anyone has reason why these two should not be joined, I didn't plan it. Neither did Elijah. But at that moment, his device spoke, loud and clear in the garden's hush. Dad? The word echoed. Chase's head snapped up, his face draining of color as he saw us. Victoria followed his gaze, her perfect smile freezing. The officiant stopped mid-sentence. Dad? Elijah repeated, his actual voice this time, working so hard for the single syllable. I'm Elijah. Chase's mother, I recognized Eleanor Rutherford from the society pages, rose from her seat, hand pressed to her mouth. Lydia, seated in the second row, looked like she might vomit. Chase? Victoria's voice was ice. What's happening? But Chase couldn't speak. He stared at Elijah, at the walker, at the boy with his eyes and my stubborn chin. 7 years collapsed into seconds. I wanted to meet you, Elijah continued through his device, each word dropping into the silent garden. Mom said today not good, but I'm 7. That's a lot of days waiting. Eleanor Rutherford swayed. A groomsman caught her arm. Whispers erupted like brushfire. Is that his son? The child's disabled. How could he not know? How could he? Victoria stepped back from the altar, her bouquet trembling. Chase, explain, now. Finally, Chase found his voice. Camille? I stood straighter, my hand steady on Elijah's shoulder. Hello, Chase. Our son wanted to meet you. Not here. Chase's voice was strangled. He looked at the wedding coordinator. The library. Now. Chase! Victoria grabbed his arm. We're in the middle of our wedding. 5 minutes. He didn't look at her, couldn't stop staring at Elijah. Please, Vic. 5 minutes. I helped Elijah through the crowd, chin high despite the whispers. Eleanor Rutherford intercepted us at the door. Up close, I could see Chase in her bone structure, Elijah in the shape of her eyes. Is he? Her voice broke. Is this child my grandson? Yes, I said simply. She pressed a handkerchief to her mouth, tears streaming. All this time, and I never knew. The library was all dark wood and leather, intimidating in its wealth. Chase paced behind a massive desk while Lydia hovered near the door like a guilty shadow. Victoria had followed us, still in her wedding dress, a surreal vision of tulle and fury. "Someone explain," Victoria demanded. "Now." I set my bag on a chair, pulled out a folder I'd carried for 7 years. Pregnancy test results, doctor's notes, certified letters returned unopened, email receipts showing blocked addresses. I laid each document on the desk like evidence. Phone records showing disconnected numbers. Even the process server who couldn't find you when Elijah was diagnosed. Chase stared at the papers. Lydia, what is this?" His assistant straightened her shoulders. "You were 29. The company was weeks from going public. A baby would have derailed everything. You knew?" His voice was deadly quiet. "You knew Camille was pregnant? She was nobody." Lydia's mask finally cracked. "A fling from a medical conference. You had a Fortune 500 future. I protected that." "Protected?" I laughed, sharp and bitter. "I was 26 and pregnant. When Elijah was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, I couldn't even find you to sign medical consent forms." "Cerebral?" Chase sank into a chair. "He's disabled?" "He's perfect." My voice could have cut glass. "He's brilliant and funny and brave. He works harder than anyone I know just to exist in this world. And yes, he has CP. If that's a problem—" "Mom!" Elijah's device interrupted. "Show video, please." With shaking hands, I pulled out my phone and hit play. Elijah's recorded message filled the room. "Hi, I'm Elijah. I'm 7. I like dinosaurs and coding." Chase watched transfixed. When it reached, "Do you like swimming?" he made a sound like he'd been punched. "I swim," he whispered. "I was on the team at Stanford." "Play again, please," Elijah requested. This time, Chase moved closer, kneeling to Elijah's eye level as the video repeated. When it finished, Elijah added through his device, "I'm not sad. Are you sad?" "Yes." Chase's voice broke. "I'm very sad." "Why?" "Because I missed everything. Because I didn't know you existed. Because I—" He looked at me, then Lydia, then back to Elijah. "Because I failed you. Because I—" Victoria made a disgusted sound. "This is ridiculous. Chase, we have 200 guests. Leave." "Excuse me?" Chase stood, suddenly every inch the CEO. "The wedding's off, Vic. I'm sorry, but I need you to leave." "You're joking!" She laughed, sharp and disbelieving. "You're not calling off our wedding for some woman you haven't seen in years and her disabled—" "Choose your next word very carefully." Chase's voice was lethal. Victoria's perfect face twisted. 7 years and she shows up now? It's obviously about money. I make $70,000 a year running a therapy center for kids like our son. I said quietly. "I don't want your money. I never did." Victoria stormed out, wedding dress rustling like an angry swan. Lydia tried to follow, but Chase's voice stopped her cold. "You're fired. Clear out your desk. If you come near my family again, I'll destroy you." My family. The words hung strange in the air. Eleanor Rutherford appeared in the doorway, having composed herself. "The guests are leaving. I've asked the coordinator to manage things." She looked at Elijah with hungry eyes. May I say hello to my grandson?" Elijah studied her solemnly, then typed, "You're sad too?" "Very sad," Eleanor admitted, "but also happy. Is that okay?" He considered this. "Feelings are complicated." She laughed through tears. "Yes, darling, they certainly are." "I like your dress," Elijah added. "Sparkly." "Thank you." She looked at me. "Camille, I don't know what to say. If I'd known—" Nobody knew. I was tired suddenly, the adrenaline fading. That was the point. Chase hadn't moved from his spot near Elijah. He seemed afraid to, like we might disappear if he blinked. Can I see the video again?" This time, Elijah narrated along with his recorded self, adding commentary. "That part's hard. Sometimes my mouth doesn't work right, but I keep trying. You're incredible. Chase whispered. I know, Elijah replied matter-of-factly. Mom tells me every day. Chase looked at me then. Really looked. 7 years had changed us both. He was harder now, carved from success and ambition. I was softer in some ways, worn smooth by the daily tides of caregiving and love. Camille, Don't. I held up a hand. This isn't about us. Elijah wanted to meet you. He has questions. That's all. Ask questions, Elijah prompted through his device. Chase laughed, shaky but real. Okay, do you really like dinosaurs? Pachycephalosaurus is my favorite, means thick-headed lizard. Elijah grinned. Mom says I'm thick-headed too, stubborn. Get that from both sides, Eleanor murmured. For the next hour, Elijah peppered Chase with questions. Did he really make brain computers? Did he like Marvel or DC? Could he do math in his head? Did he have pets? Chase answered each one seriously, and I watched my son bloom under his father's attention. This was what I'd feared, not rejection, but this. Hope. I have question, Elijah typed finally. Why didn't you want me? The room went silent. Chase's face crumbled. I didn't know about you, he said carefully. Someone made sure I didn't know. But that's my fault too. I should have tried harder. I should have been better. Elijah processed this. If you knew, would you want me? Yes. No hesitation. Yes, absolutely. Even with CP? Even with Walker? Chase knelt again, meeting Elijah's eyes. I make computers that help people's brains work differently. You think I'd have a problem with my son's brain working differently? Not my brain, Elijah corrected. My muscles don't listen good. Brain works fine. Maybe too fine. Mom says I think too much. Like father, like son, Eleanor said softly. I stood abruptly. We should go. You have guests to deal with, a situation to manage. Camille, please. Chase looked desperate. Don't leave. Not again. We have a flight home tomorrow. Cancel it. Stay. Let me try to fix this. This isn't something you fix, Chase. This is something you live with, and we've been living with it fine without you. Elijah made a sound of protest. Mom, not fine, different from fine. My brilliant, too perceptive child. One more day, Elijah negotiated through his device. Please? I have more questions. We didn't stay for the wedding reception disaster. Eleanor arranged a suite at the hotel, had our things moved from our budget motel. I wanted to protest, but Elijah was exhausted, his spasms worse from the stress. That night, he had his worst episode in months. I'd seen it building, the excitement, the travel, the emotional strain. His muscles locked rigid, back arching, the seizure rolling through him in waves. I stayed calm, turning him on his side, timing it. But when it passed the 5-minute mark, I called 911. Chase arrived at the hospital as they were wheeling Elijah for an MRI. He looked destroyed, still in his wedding tuxedo, bow tie hanging loose. What happened? Is he... Seizure. He has them sometimes. Stress is a trigger. I couldn't look at him. This is my fault. I shouldn't have brought him. No! Chase gripped my shoulders. Camille, no. This is not your fault. I wanted to punish you. The admission ripped out of me. I wanted you to see what you missed, what you threw away. But I used our son to do it, and now... Stop! He pulled me against his chest, and I broke. 7 years of being strong, of handling everything alone, of pretending I didn't need anyone. It all came crashing down. I sobbed into his expensive shirt while he held me, whispering apologies that couldn't change anything. Dr. Patel found us like that. He's okay. The MRI is clear. Sometimes these episodes just happen with CP. You know this, Dr. Dawson. I pulled myself together, professional mask sliding on. How long for observation? Few hours. He's asking for you, and for his father. Chase followed me to Elijah's room. Our son looked tiny in the hospital bed, IV taped to his small hand. But he smiled when he saw us. Together. he said, voice slurred from medication. Good. I smoothed his hair. How do you feel, baby? Tired, sore. He looked at Chase. You stayed? Of course I stayed. Chase's voice was thick. Where else would I be? Wedding, Elijah managed. That's over. This is more important. You're more important. Elijah's eyes drooped. Mom cries at hospitals. Don't let her cry. I'll take care of her, Chase promised. When Elijah slept, we sat on opposite sides of his bed like sentinels. The wedding chaos felt like another lifetime. Tell me, Chase said quietly. Everything. From the beginning. So I did. The pregnancy alone. The diagnosis. The early intervention. The surgeries. The therapy sessions where Elijah screamed in frustration. The first time he used his communication device to say, I love you. The swim classes where he felt free. The coding lessons that lit up his mind. He's happy, I finished. Despite everything, he's happy. That's all I wanted. You're an incredible mother. I'm a tired mother. There's a difference. He was quiet for a moment. I have a son. I have a 7-year-old son who thinks I make cool computers and likes dinosaurs and is brave enough to crash my wedding just to meet me. Don't romanticize it. Tomorrow he'll wake up in pain. He'll need help showering. He'll take 12 pills. He'll work for an hour in PT just to walk to the car. That's our reality. I want to help. We don't need... I know you don't need me. His voice was raw. You've made that clear. You've done everything alone, and you've done it perfectly. But I want to help anyway. Please. Elijah woke at dawn, disoriented but stable. Did I miss the cake? There wasn't cake, buddy, Chase said. He'd stayed all night, dozing in the uncomfortable chair. All weddings have cake. Elijah frowned. Mom, tell him. Your father's wedding was unusual. Because of us? Despite everything, guilt colored his voice. No. Chase was firm. Because I was marrying the wrong person for the wrong reasons. You did me a favor. Really? Really. Although next time, maybe just send a card. Elijah giggled, then winced. I reached for his medication, but Chase was already there with water and pills, following the schedule I'd written on the whiteboard. You learn fast, I said. I build neural networks for a living. I can handle a medication schedule. We were discharged by lunch. Eleanor met us at the hotel with bags from the children's boutique. Soft clothes that would be easy on Elijah's sore muscles. Grandma? Elijah tested the word. Eleanor's face lit up. Yes, darling, if that's okay? He considered. I've never had one before. You'll have to teach me the rules. First rule, Eleanor said seriously. Grandmas spoil grandchildren rotten. Mom? Elijah looked at me. Is that allowed? I was outnumbered and exhausted. Within reason. Chase had canceled our flight without asking. I wanted to be angry, but Elijah was so happy. He'd found family he didn't know existed, and they wanted him. Walker, CP, communication device, and all. I have to propose something, Chase said over dinner. Don't say no immediately. Inspiring start. I want to fund a clinical trial using our neural interface technology for kids with CP. Elijah could be one of the first participants if he qualifies. I set down my fork. Chase, it's not charity. It is not guilt. It's... He looked at Elijah, who was focused on cutting his food with adapted utensils. It's what I should have been doing all along, using what I built to help. Clinical trials have risks. Everything has risks, but the potential, direct neural control of assistive devices, bypassing the damaged motor pathways. I know the science. I'd read every paper on his company's work, hoping and hating in equal measure. Then you know this could change everything. Or it could change nothing. Or it could make things worse. Mom, Elijah interjected. Can I say something? We both turned to him. I want to try. If it helps other kids too, I want to try. Chase leaned forward. It's not just about walking better, buddy. It's about giving your brain direct control over computers, robots, maybe even dinosaur robots? Elijah's eyes went wide. I mean, eventually, theoretically. I'm in. I laughed despite myself. We'll research, together. Make an informed decision. Together, Chase repeated softly. After dinner, Eleanor took Elijah to see the hotel pool. Heated, accessible, perfect for his sore muscles. Chase and I sat in awkward silence. I'm sorry, he said finally, for all of it, for being young and selfish and scared, for letting Lydia control my life, for missing 7 years of him. I'm sorry too, for giving up, for not trying harder, for bringing him to your wedding like some kind of revenge. We're quite a pair. We're not a pair, I corrected. We're co-parents, maybe friends, eventually, but that's all. He nodded, though something flickered in his eyes. What about the guy at Elijah's therapy center? Marcus? I blinked. How do you— I might have done some research. After you left the library, I maybe Googled you. Your center, the work you do. He smiled sheepishly. There are pictures of you two at the fundraising gala. You look happy. Marcus is a colleague, a friend. He's been there for Elijah. And for you? That's not your business anymore. You're right. Sorry. He was quiet for a moment. I want you to be happy. Both of you. Even if it's not with me. 6 months later. Hold still, Wiggleworm. I adjusted Elijah's cap, the miniature graduation gown, making him look older than 8. It's itchy, he complained through his new device. The clinical trial had been approved, and while the full neural interface was months away, Chase's company had donated cutting-edge equipment to our therapy center. 5 minutes for pictures, then you can change. Dad said I looked distinguished. He preened a little. Dad. The word still caught me sometimes. Chase had moved to New York, bought a brownstone 20 minutes from us. He'd thrown himself into fatherhood with the same intensity he applied to everything: PT appointments, swim practice, coding lessons, homework battles. You do look distinguished, Marcus said, appearing with his camera. Very professorial. We'd tried, Marcus and I. A few dates, some kisses. But my heart wasn't ready. Might never be ready. We worked better as friends, as co-parents to the 100 kids who came through our center. Places, everyone, the elementary school principal called. I watched Elijah line up with his classmates, Walker decorated with LED lights Chase had helped him program. The other kids had long stopped seeing the equipment, seeing only Eli, the boy who told the best jokes, who helped with math homework, who'd started a coding club for kids with disabilities. Camille. Eleanor appeared beside me, impeccable as always. She'd moved to New York too, claiming she needed to be near her only grandchild. How are you holding up? I'm going to cry, I admitted. Good. I brought tissues. She handed me a pack. Where's Chase? Getting the accessible seating ready. We'd fought the school district for months about accessibility. Chase had hired lawyers. I'd provided medical documentation. Elijah had spoken at school board meetings. Today, they'd installed a temporary ramp so he could cross the stage independently. The ceremony started, and I saw Chase slip in beside us. He caught my hand, squeezed once, let go. We'd found our rhythm, not romantic, but something deeper. Partners in the truest sense. Elijah Dawson Rutherford. Our son's name rang out across the auditorium. He stood carefully, Walker 2.0, his name for it, supporting him. But then, wait, his device spoke clearly. I want to try something. The audience held its breath as Elijah locked his walker. Slowly, painfully, beautifully, he took one step unassisted. Then another. Then Chase and I were both on our feet, ready to catch him. But Elijah waved us off, determined. 5 steps, 6, 7. He reached the principal, who was crying openly. The auditorium erupted, but Elijah wasn't done. Can I say something? He asked. The principal handed him the microphone, though his new device projected clearly. I can't walk far without help, Elijah said, each word fought for, but clear. That's okay. Everyone needs help sometimes. My mom taught me that being brave isn't about doing things alone. It's about knowing when to ask for help and giving help when you can. I was sobbing. Chase was sobbing. Eleanor was taking video and sobbing. "I want to thank my mom," Elijah continued. "She helps me every day. My dad, who came back when I needed him. My grandma, who says yes when mom says no." The audience laughed. "And everyone who sees me, not just my walker. That's all. Oh, and dinosaurs are still cool." He handed back the microphone and carefully made his way back to his walker. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. Later, at the reception, I watched Elijah demonstrate his coding project to other kids, while Chase explained the neural interface trials to fascinated parents. Eleanor was recruiting everyone for her new foundation. The Elijah project had become her passion. "You did good, Mama," Marcus said, appearing with cake. "That kid's going to change the world." "He already has. At least, he changed mine. And Chase's. Have you noticed how he looks at you?" "Marcus!" "I'm just saying. Second chances don't always come around. Sometimes love looks different the second time. Deeper. More real." I watched Chase help Elijah cut his cake, both of them laughing at some shared joke. We'd never be a traditional family. We'd never have the fairy tale. But maybe we had something better. A love forged in struggle, tested by separation, strengthened by forgiveness. "Mom!" Elijah called. "Dad says I can have 2 pieces. Dad's pushing his luck," I called back. Chase grinned at me, that same smile that had undone me 8 years ago. But now it included our son, our complicated history, our imperfect future. Maybe Marcus was right. Maybe second chances came in different shapes. Maybe love wasn't just the butterflies and passion of youth, but also 3 a.m. seizure watches and PT appointments and graduation speeches that made you cry. Maybe our story wasn't ending at all. Maybe it was just beginning. Elijah wheeled over, cake crumbs on his graduation gown, joy radiating from every cell. "Family picture," he demanded. Chase and I flanked him, Eleanor and Marcus joining the group. The photographer counted down, and in that moment, my son laughing, his father's hand on his shoulder, surrounded by chosen family. I felt it. Not the happily ever after of fairy tales. Something better, something real, something ours.